I'm Amanda.
I'm Emily.
And this is Jessica, and we are two
moms, one mic. So as you can see, we are on location right now.
Hello.
That's why we have this bougie background, so thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here.
We are in Kleinberg at Define Beauty. Once again, this is Jessica, and she's going to talk about motherhood, entrepreneurship, because she owns this beautiful salon, which you should come visit.
So it's one thing being a working mom, but what about being a working mom who runs her own business?
Yes.
Challenges definitely come with that.
Very hard, yes. So I'm going to talk to you guys about some struggles I faced while becoming a new mom, running a business, and some tips and stuff how I overcome them. So a little bit about me. My name is Jessica. I'm Amanda's younger sister. I opened my business in 2012, so 13 years ago. Throughout my 20s, my work and my job was my baby. It was my number one priority. I was working for myself, and I loved what I did. And then I met my husband. I had a son, and we got married, had a son, and my son and my family became my number one priority. So things had to change. But with that being said, I still had this business. This didn't go away, and I didn't get a mat leave. So there were some challenges that I faced at the beginning of it all.
Okay, I'm going to ask, how did you feel knowing that you weren't going to get a mat leave?
That was literally like my first
Yeah.
thought, because I know like most of us are like 18
Pregnant.
months,
Yeah,
you know, like
so excited.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's so funny. So I'm a planner. I'm like very ahead of the game. So when we got married, while I was planning a wedding, I did hire a team. I hired management. I knew after we got married, we were gonna want a family. So I always say, like, you need help, right? You can't do everything on your own. So I did hire someone, so that was very helpful. She is amazing. I have the most amazing team, so that really does help.
Nice.
So after we got married, I got pregnant pretty quick, which I wasn't expecting. So then I got more nervous because, okay, time's running out.
Put everything into practice at this very second.
And I remember, like, when I got pregnant, I'm like, oh my God, like, I thought about the business, and my husband's like, don't worry, you have time. He's like, you have 9 months. And I'm like, 9 months goes by really quick. And I'm like, okay, we got 9 months to figure this out. So I was okay, but I was telling you earlier that I said, the last month is when it really kicks in. Like, I'm gonna have a baby in a month.
Yeah.
So at 8 months of being pregnant, I was still working till 38 weeks. I would come home a lot and I would cry. My husband's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, how am I gonna do this? Like, I would have a stressful day at work, and I'm going home and I'm like, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? And he'd be like, oh, you'll figure it out. And I realized, yeah, we're women. Like, how many things can you guys do at one time?
It's very true. It's very, very
Multitask.
true.
Yeah.
So
figure it out.
you figure it out. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to figure it out. So, so how did I feel? I had a lot of anxiety prior. So if you are a new mom and have anxiety, whether or not you have a business or not, everyone has that anxiety. But I think mine was very heightened, and I don't have anxiety. So to feel that, like, heavy chest, I was like, what's happening to me? My emotions.
Yeah.
And then you have a baby, and then I feel like I didn't even have time to feel emotions sometimes because I was like just in work mode and mom mode, you know? So yeah.
You came back to work fairly quickly, part-time. Do you want to share that?
Yes. So I came back to work around 3 months, even before that.
Yeah, I think you came back
earlier. Yeah, I came back like around 2.5. Yeah. So I'm gonna just say 3, but I came back earlier, and some struggles I faced. I remember, like, everything I faced, what we're gonna talk about, are some things that you guys mentioned in your podcast. So mom guilt. So it's so crazy. Like, you know, you go to the gym and you have mom guilt, but to go to work and have mom guilt, like, that was hard.
Yeah.
So I remember I worked 2 days a week on schedule in the salon, and my mom, I'm lucky to have her. She helps me on Tuesdays, and my husband's home on Wednesdays, so he watches Julian on Wednesdays. And I remember driving home from dropping him off at my mom's, and I'm crying. And I'm thinking, like, am I doing the right thing? Should I, like, not be working? And I'm crying, and I'm just talking to myself, like, Jess, you're going to work. And I always say, before having a family, I was doing this for myself. I ran the business for myself. I lived, I was on my own, I had a business, and I would travel. It was all about me. And then I had a family, and I'm like, okay, but I'm now running the business for my family.
Yes.
Right? So anyways, the mom guilt. So that was one of my struggles coming back. Lack of sleep. So I remember, like, being some nights we couldn't settle him, and, like, I would get this heavy chest, like, I gotta go to work in 3 hours, and I haven't slept, and I have to talk to a client and run a business. So, like, that was hard. Limited work hours. So, like, I would have a whole day to do work. Now, being a mom, it's ongoing. So I had now, this time was being a mom, and, like, this time was work. So, like, finding time to add work into being a mom. Another thing you guys talk about, self-care. Lack of time for myself was one of my struggles too. Luckily,
is it harder for you because your industry is essentially self-care?
Well, I was just
like
gonna
you're
say,
going around like pampering other people, and you're like, I'm dying here, but you know what? You look great. You look so good.
Well, I do lashes, so I always have to make sure I have mine on.
That's also true too.
So this is like part of but I was gonna say, luckily I have a salon, so like my self-care is like like coming to the salon and like my team, like, hey guys, can I get my hair done? Like, hey, can you do my lashes? So
I guess
that
that's
helps.
the benefit of your line of work.
Yes, that helps. But like I feel like time for myself, or like, like time for like me and my husband, or time for me and my friends, or like the gym, it's hard to add all those things in because I feel like it was like being a mom and then work.
Yeah.
And then it's like my husband, my friends, so
it's definitely difficult to find time for all the other stuff too when you become a mom.
Yeah, it's not enough hours in a day.
Thinking back at it, would you have still always came back around 3 months, or do you think, you know what, I actually probably could have maybe pushed it another month or maybe even 6 months?
You know what? Good question. I am so happy I came back at 3 months. It was hard. I was also pumping being at work. I remember like pumping and dumping, and like that was hard. When I did stop doing that, I felt better. But I wanted to I had a goal and stuff. But I'm happy I came back when I did. I went through major baby blues at the beginning. And life happens. Amanda talked about on her podcast, right? So like life happened with my family, whatever. So I had baby blues, but I feel like being at work, just everything when I was here
helped you help navigate that.
When I was here, and all my clients are amazing. I love all my clients, and most of them are moms,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I would be like, I'm having this thought.
Like you have a village.
Yes, like
to work.
My team and my clients are like my friends, and they're like my village. And like sometimes I'd be like, I'm having this thought. My client's like, oh, that's normal. I'm like, okay.
And that's like Amanda and I, we always reiterate the importance of village. Like I feel like it doesn't matter what we end up talking about, this theme always comes together. And a village can look different for everyone. Like some people say like, I don't have a village because like maybe they're not close with their parents or their in-laws, or maybe they like physically or emotionally. But it doesn't necessarily have to just be like who's always looking out for the child. It's not like, okay, I have babysitters, that's my village. It's that emotional support in other areas too. It's always, if mom can get that care with, your village being your clients and your staff, that is also so valuable as well. Yeah. Sometimes it's not just like, I think we think about it's like, how many people do we have to take care of the child?
Yeah.
But really, like, maybe the child actually doesn't need many people to take care of them. And it's like, who's supporting mom?
Yeah.
And as long as mom's happy and healthy, which we speak about all the time, and we always want to reiterate that, like a healthy and happy mom is what's going to keep everything afloat. Mm-hmm. That's very, very important. And I love that point that, you actually coming back to work was that support that you needed.
100%.
Even like I'm thinking about how you said you cried dropping him off the first time. And
I remember mom was like waving, and I'm like, oh my God, why are you guys waving at me? She had his hand.
Oh my God,
yeah, so mom, if you're watching this, don't wave at us.
It just makes it worse. It's like putting lime or lemon on the wound.
Or it's like when you leave your house and your dog's at your door, and it's like, oh.
Like your son's never gonna remember that you left him for a couple
But remember,
hours.
that was early on. So I was probably postpartum.
It was you were more emotional. It's us. They don't remember. Like when my son goes to his nonna's house, he's like, bye, come back soon. Back soon.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't.
No, it's true.
They're happy. They're with people that are safe for them too, right?
Yeah.
They love.
But no, it's true about having an emotional, like that day, like how you just said that day my mom was caring for my kid, and it's like my clients and team care for me.
Yes.
Because, and like very, and women, when we get together, we talk, you know what I mean?
For sure.
They're saying their emotions, I'm saying mine, you feel better talking to people.
Yeah,
so,
you do.
Yeah.
I agree.
I have some friends and clients who are in the industry, and I always say, if you're, like when you're becoming a new mom, if you're ever having a hard day, get a coffee and say, hey, do you want your hair done? I'll go to work for you today. Like, being at work, helps.
That was like me with mat leave. I appreciated my mall walks with my other moms, right? It's the social aspect too, right? That you're getting that adult interaction while you're at work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think this goes a lot too with your self-identity, right? Because we've also spoken about sometimes you can lose yourself in motherhood because now, you're navigating this new life, new body, new everything. But because in your situation, you still held on such a large part of who you were and what you did before your child, I think that also helps with your self-identity too, where you're not kind of like sitting at home like and thinking, I'm only a mom. You know, I'm only a mama or this or that and that type of thing.
I
like
never felt like
you know what? Like you're still holding that purpose of and those goals that you still had previously, and
I'm more actually motivated because now I'm like before I was working for myself. Now I'm like, okay, I have like a family and like now you're more motivated. Someone asked me that if she's like, oh, but do you feel less motivated? I'm like, I feel even more motivated now. Yeah. Like I was motivated before. Now I don't have as much time and energy to put in my business, which is fine. I talk about like. We'll talk about this later about adjusting your goals and plans and expectations. But yeah, I feel like I'm more motivated
That's
now.
so interesting that you say that, Jess, because like I'm thinking about myself, and when I became a mom, like I wasn't if you guys remember me from Alien Designs, I wasn't motivated to run my business anymore. I really wasn't. I was just like, and maybe that's because I also had a full-time job. And that was like my side piece, but I was like, I'm not.
Well, you have a job. Yeah.
Like maybe that was my baby before, and then I had Antonio, so I'm like, I don't need you anymore.
But that was your side. That was your side.
Maybe because it was I was not motivated to like grow that, and I was at home. I could have.
Yeah.
Well, and I know like from my experience, because like when I got pregnant, I was let go from my full-time job. So I didn't have a full-time job to go back to. Mm-hmm. So, and I feel like once I started having my kids, I had to kind of reframe what work and contributing to the household was going to be like.
Yes.
Because I was like, I almost kind of got like a different sense of self where I kind of was really like, I don't like doing A, B, C, and D, but I like doing E, F, G, H. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then kind of like discovering more things about yourself. Like, did I even like that other job? Is that something that I'm good at? Where do I see myself? And honestly, I'm still figuring that out with 2 children. Mm-hmm. And anyone who knows me, I'm like, I do a little part-time here and a little part-time there. Mm-hmm. But I just like, for me right now, like I need that flexibility because that's what creates balance in my life.
Yeah.
Right? And then like you were saying, like at that time, Alien Designs wasn't serving you as much and that wasn't creating the balance for you. And you know what? To look forward to your full-time job, that's what served you. So
yeah.
I think, you know, we're constantly evolving and changing.
Yeah.
And through motherhood, that obviously impacts a lot, like what your goals are going to be.
Yes. So I feel like, you know, before I met my husband, like whoever knew me, even in family, like I wanted to have like a second salon, a larger salon. I had all these goals, and then I met my husband. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm good.
You started running one business, and you saw how much work it was. Like I remember when you opened this place. Yeah. You were even surprised.
Oh yeah.
Even though you worked in another salon, and
I was just renting a room.
I know, but you did work closely with the owner.
Oh yes, yeah.
So I feel like you weren't even aware of how much work went into owning your own business until you actually became a business owner.
Yeah. I called, so I became best friends with the owner, and I remember like when I was putting this all together, one night I was crying, and I'm like, what did I do? I remember calling her, and I'm like, how did you do it? Like, can I have my room back? No, but I'm so happy. Like I have the most amazing team. I'm so happy with my decision, and like with flexibility, and I love it. But you definitely have to, like I said, adjust your plans and your growth and your expectations, and it's what you want. So then when I met my husband, I'm like, oh, I don't want to like another salon. I want to be like a wife and a mom. And then we had we had our son, and now I'm like, oh, I'm totally content with a small salon and a small team.
Yeah, and like right now, this is where you're at. You can manage it. You feel good in it. Because and it's not, too much.
Yeah, and just, adjusting your small progress is progress. So, like, I also feel like I put pressure on myself, and maybe that's just, entrepreneurs who do that. Pressure myself, and I have, like, these timelines. So, like, every month I do, like, my goal setting for, like, the month, and I, like, reevaluate, and I'm like, oh, my God, I didn't reach this, so it goes to the next month. So now I'm, like, it's going to take me longer to get to certain goals, and I'm okay with that. Because I'm still working, and I'm still being a mom.
And you're not giving up on them.
No,
it's not, that's a big difference, too. Moving a goal and giving up on it is, like, two very separate things. So
I feel like I'm less, pressure. Like, certain things that I was before, I feel like I'm changed. Like, I'm more, like, easygoing with certain things because I'm, like,
That's it.
Yeah. I actually, one hard thing, I actually ran to someone, and she took a very long mat leave, and she asked me, like, oh, you went back? Like, how did you do with that? And, like, I'm like, oh, like, yeah, okay. And I feel like I didn't really think about it, like giving my son, he was with, my mom, his grandmother and his father, but, like, just leaving, and I'm like, I feel like I didn't have a choice, so it's like, I didn't think about it, like, I didn't have a choice, so I'm like, yeah, like, I'm okay, like, because some people have that attachment, I didn't dwell on it, and
I have a friend, she just went back too, just on Saturdays, and her son's 2 months old, Steph, she went back.
Okay.
And I asked her, I saw her on Wednesday, I'm like, how do you like being back? And she's like, I love it. I'm so happy I went.
Actually, speaking of that, you can even ask Mark, one of my first days back home, he's like, you are so happy. I really was so happy coming home. Yeah. I'm like, isn't it crazy that work can do this to us?
It's the break from your potato, because that's what a baby is. They are literally just a potato for the first like 9 months. They don't do anything. You're taking care of a potato. Yeah. So just having that other interaction with people that like actually respond to you. Yeah. I feel like really feeds the soul.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. Some other things I want to talk about. So how to overcome these challenges, like everything we just spoke about, the mom guilt, the hours and all that. We talked about setting realistic goals. So that's super important. We talked about that. Delegating business tasks, which I did say, like I hired a management team, hire where needed, and having great people behind you. Your work village.
That's very valid. Yeah, for sure.
Creating a flexible schedule. I was a little bit, at the beginning, I was like, I want this baby on a schedule. 3 months was when I got him on a schedule, but I feel like I was trying so hard because I was trying to like do everything. Yeah. And I was like, Amanda, like when do we get him on a schedule? Anyways, when people say it gets easier, it gets easier. At 3 months, he started getting on a schedule, which allowed me to like book meetings on his nap, do my order. So once he was on a schedule,
it was a little bit more predictable. You could, you know.
So that helped too, creating that time management when he was on a schedule.
You know, I remember, and I want to bring it up. I remember when you first had him, and we were talking about you running a business and how, and you'll elaborate when I get there. And you were talking about how you just adjusted your life with a baby to still do everything that you did. Yeah. So for example, Jessica has like an online store. She has to ship packages out, and I think on Mondays you always do that, right?
Yep. And when he's sleeping, I'll like accept orders, package them.
Yeah. For my house. She said like I still do everything I did by myself. Now I'm just doing it with Julian, and I'm at a slower pace. On Mondays I have to ship out my packages.
And I bring him.
Yeah. She's told me, you're like, I'm living my life just with a child now.
Speaking of that, one time I went grocery shopping, and my mom's like, oh, you brought him? She's like, but doesn't that take you so long? And I'm like, well, I don't want to wait till like Mark comes home. Yeah. I'm like, Mom, I have all day. It used to take me 20 minutes to go grocery shopping. Now it takes me 40, and I have a baby with me. Yeah. We go to the bank, we go to the supplier. But yeah, like I would bring him to Canada Post and like hold the car seat and like, hold the packages. I just feel like I had no choice, right?
Yeah. No, right? You have to just kind of motor through. Otherwise, when you're gonna start doing stuff between 5 and 7, when like the roads are congested, you can't even get out of your house. Like no, like it's. You gotta do things that are convenient for you, even if it takes, 5, 10, 15 minutes longer.
Right, I remember at a week old, I had like some bill I had to pay and I had to go to the bank. So like, everyone said to me like, oh, like how are you driving? And I'm like, driving? Like I remember looking at him, and he's like a week old. I'm like, buddy, we gotta go to the bank. I'm like, hey, let's do this. It was the first time I packed him up, and I'm like, all right, like, we gotta go. And it made me, that also made me, because I thought I would have anxiety with driving with him. I remember driving and I was like, okay, am I okay? Just everything pushed me. It pushed me. I was actually shocked of how I was, but I feel like running this just pushed me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like your business like motivated you to like
just continue my life.
On. Like it kind of, I don't wanna, it's like it didn't give you the opportunity to like feel the emotions. Like I was different. I had like my postpartum because of things, and like I know you had baby blues, but because you had other things to focus on too, the distractions helped.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, things had to get done.
Yeah.
And you can only delegate so many things. Like ultimately, things are still going to fall on you. You're still the owner, right?
Yes.
So
and then between all this, when I was coming back to work, I had an emergency surgery too. So just life happens. It's just
the cherry. Just have your ice cream now.
3-4 months.
No, 3 months.
3 months. She had to go in for
a gallbladder. Yeah, so it's just but just go.
It,
so still kept going. Like, wow.
But, I realized moms can do. Yeah, moms can do
all of it. All of it. Just
not
all
even
of
moms.
it.
You know what? Women. Like we are just how many things. Think about how many things you can do at one time. First, a man.
I know.
They enable it though. I'm sorry, if we sit down and have an episode talking about men, there's gonna be a lot I have to say.
There'll be more divorce episodes.
More people going.
We might need to get like a hotline where people can call in.
Anonymous. My husband.
Sorry, speaking of everything, how you were saying, go, like I just did. Something that's really important, and is setting boundaries. I think you guys spoke about all of this in other podcasts, and avoiding burnout. I'm very in tune with my emotions, and although I'm like, go, sometimes I'm like, you know what? Turning everything off. It's 8:00. We're putting him to bed. We're turning everything off, phones, like computers, and I'm like relaxing.
Yeah.
So you have to be very in tune and like when to shut off. Even on vacation, like I'm a big person on like traveling and like taking a break, because we live such a high-paced life, and like you don't want to burn out, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You told me not to talk about this, but I'm bringing it up. Jessica wrote a book a few years ago, but this correlates with your book, everything you're saying.
Yeah, well, it was running a business.
It's about running a business, and she talks, and I guess being a mom is kind of like running a business for you. It is.
I call myself the CEO of
your house.
Of my house.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, no, I'm the CEO, you're like the COO. I'm like, no. Just because you bring in the money, I don't care. I say, you can be the COO, I'm the CEO. Because I'm the one managing where we have to go, when we have to go, what's getting paid. You know, I'm running the moving parts.
Yeah.
So I'm the manager, I'm the owner of this house.
Yeah. It's true.
It's true. You're basically running two businesses.
Yeah. And that's why I think I had so much anxiety, because I know what it's like to run a business. And like my brother and Amanda had a baby before I did. So I wasn't like naive. Like I knew that it was going to be hard. Like I wasn't like, this is going to be easy. So I feel like I had anxiety because I saw it. Right? You know, so I wasn't like, oh.
I mean, I'm someone that like doesn't sugarcoat life, and like, you know,
we got that.
I like Steven, like our brother and like sister-in-law, they're a little bit more positive than I am. If I looked at having a kid just with them, I would have thought it was all rainbows and sunshines, because they're positive people, where I'm like, I'm the dark cloud. I will tell you all of the negative things that come with motherhood, because you have enough people in your life telling you the positive things.
Fair enough.
So
yeah. We also don't want to scare people when they're pregnant. Like I have clients who are pregnant, and it's like, well, I'll talk to them after. What are you gonna do?
I
don't want to like
see. I think that's where Amanda and I are different. Okay, so there was someone I worked with at Good Life, and she was pregnant, and her class was before mine, so we'd always have like that little interaction, and she's probably gonna listen to this because I know she does. And she would ask me stuff, and I would just be like, no, it's and like, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me something, because I will tell you what it's like. And I think she appreciated that. No, I mean, she listens to this podcast, so she obviously appreciates honesty.
Yes.
I think there's a way of telling people the truth without it coming off too bright, and without coming off too unicorn shitting rainbows. You could just be honest, and the person can take it as they want. Like they can interpret it however. Like I just think I'm honest. I'm not gonna be like, hey, you're gonna be bleeding and it's gonna hurt. Like you could just say things honestly, and someone can still get the point. Like
what I found, I don't have like anxiety. I'm very like in tune with my emotions and positive. So when I had all these things like go in my head and like my chest, I was like, this isn't me. Like I couldn't control it. So I like to tell people, like, if you're feeling that is normal, right? Like
of course. Exactly.
You know, like crying at 8 months, like how am I gonna do this all? Like those things, like just to make people feel like, okay, this is normal.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's the thing. Like we want to normalize both sides. You could like, I know somebody else who's a very like holistic, natural person, and I watch her now being a mother, and like her child is so calm, and I'm like I wouldn't expect anything else, because your mother is the calmest human being that I know. Like it just makes sense. And I joke with my husband, I'm like, our kids are not calm because I'm not a calm person. Like it just makes sense. Like
my little spicy man.
You know, it's there are those people, and and they can both coexist, and they can still have a great motherhood journey and navigate it in their own sense.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah.
So, are there any big tips or takeaways or advice that you would leave entrepreneurs, any mom really, like?
Yeah. Well, if I can do it, you can do it. Remember why you started. And I like I said in this podcast, it was for me, and now it's for my family, and to me that I'm more motivated. Being a mom and an entrepreneur is rewarding. I'm building something meaningful for like both myself, my family, my home. So yeah, like your job will help you in so many ways that you didn't even notice, and I didn't notice till I came back to work. When people ask me, how'd you deal with postpartum and this and that, and you know, sometimes like I would be you know, and I like home with my son, and I would like call the salon and be like, you know what, I'm gonna come in. Like, what are you guys doing? And I would bring him in, like, you know. Yeah. And everyone always says, like, your son's so happy. I'm like, sure. He was with like people at a very young age. Yeah.
Like, I think like we stress so much like on mommy and baby time, but I don't think people realize that there is benefit of feeling like yourself again, doing something you love, and also having that time away.
Yes.
And I think both can be true, really.
Yeah, and how many times have we heard like a happy mom is, you know,
or
what is it?
It's happy wife, happy life, but it's a true happy woman.
You being better, you'll be a better mom. You'll be a better like.
You can't pour for a man.
Yeah. I feel like when I'm my best version, like if I like sometimes I'm like I need to work out. When I'm my best version, I feel like I am a better wife, a better mom. Like everything's just I'm nicer.
Yeah, I agree.
So I feel like I love when moms come in and they're like, oh, I had a baby 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, I'm so happy you're here taking care of yourself because this is your break here. And it's like, we need to take care of ourselves. And like, we feel guilty taking care of ourselves, going to the gym, being away from our kids. But think about how better we feel and we're doing a better job at our job.
Yeah.
So
we do. We need to take care of ourselves before we take care of
I feel like
else.
our generation does a better job at that.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
1,000,000,000%. I would agree.
We're a lot more open about our emotions.
Like, do we all have our nails done right now?
Yeah. We're a little bit old, but yeah, we're going to fix it.
We're a lot better at that, a lot better. And I feel like sometimes maybe the older generation thinks that we're selfish. No, I think they think
I feel that too,
Yeah, they think we're selfish. Yeah. Oh, you're a mom. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm Amanda first. Before
Well, I'm human. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, so, and you're a better mom because of, you know, how good do you feel going to work and teaching your Zumba?
I love doing that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I need it.
love going to work too. I couldn't wait to go back to work. I couldn't wait. I even contacted the school board to see if I could go back earlier as a supply teacher. And I couldn't.
Yeah.
But like I wanted to go back to work so bad and just interact with people. Like I knew it was going to be better for my mental health too, and it really was.
Yeah, like we talk about me coming back to work so early and like running a business, but like being at home for 18 months, that's hard too.
It was so hard.
Like sometimes I would think of you like when I was at work and I'm like, man, like she's so lucky she got 18 months off. But then when I really think about it, like that's hard.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was a lot. It was. So, I call mat leave like COVID 2.0. That's what I call mat leave. I know we're changing this subject now, but call it COVID 2.0. Like I wasn't expecting that. Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah. So give yourself grace. Some days will be tough, and that's okay, right?
No.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was really fun chatting with you and being in a beautiful place. So once again, we're in Kleinburg. Come on down.
Thank you.
And on that note, we'll see you guys next time.